Hey guys, what's up? My name is Kati and this is the Metaphysical Babes. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about rituals, and I want to talk about how certain rituals have really helped me in my life. Once I put aside what people thought, what people would say, what religion would think, what God would think, I put these thoughts in a box and started applying knowledge and using rituals to shape my reality and change the course of my life for the better. Plants and the elements are all available for us to better ourselves, to remember the true essence of who we are. And it's my deepest belief, after years of studies, after years of experimenting with these different types of spiritualities and understanding, at the core of everything really is energy. I've come to the conclusion that it is not against the laws of God. It is rather making us, or bringing us closer to God, which is our real essence. We are not far from God. In fact, we are a reflection of God at the three-dimensional level. And if you can understand that, and you can also understand that the plants, the animals, the nature in itself is also an extension of God, which is there for us, for our survival, for our growth, for our spirituality. We just need to align ourselves to these elements wherever we're from, and make them work for us, to just help us remember where we came from and remember why we're here. What is the role that we're supposed to play here? And once you acquire these types of knowledge to help you align with the true essence of who you are, and I think it is my belief that it really deeply pleases God, and that's all you need to know. You're not here to live by anybody's rules but God's rule. And if there will be a judgment day, you will face that judgment on your own. You're not going to have your church leaders there with you and say, well, I told you so. No, you will face the consequences on your own. And it is for you only to experiment, to seek, right? Seek and you shall find. The kingdom of God is not outside of you, it is within you. When you go within and you utilize the elements of nature, I guarantee you that your life will change for the better. And this is what I know, that some rituals that I've learned, once I put everything aside, the noises, and start thinking outside the box, literally, everything just changed for me. And it took a lot, to be quite honest with you, to shed that skin that was put on me by society, by my family, by my parents, by where I'm from and everything like that. Once I shed that skin and I embraced that side of spirituality of where I am from, a lot of things changed for me. And I want to share with you why I believe that rituals is a law. It is not, though not in a law in science, but it is a metaphysical principle that I believe that suggests that your actions, your deliberate or symbolic actions, your rituals, have the power to shape your reality. And that happened for me, right? So I just want to share with you quickly before I get into this, and I also have some notes here that I want to look into, that I've been reading this book, The Name It and Claim It Game by Helen Hadsell. I know that maybe some of you who watch manifestation channels probably have come across this book. It's really amazing to see how this woman, like I just said, had to tune out the outside world and focus in her own world and what she wanted to experience in this physical world. And she was able to attain win every contest she ever participated in. And that's pretty much the game of life, really, guys. The game of life is you deciding the role that you want to play in this 3D dimensional world. But you just need to become conscious conscious of who you are, conscious of your surrounding, conscious of what comes in and goes out, but most importantly, as within, so without. Whatever you cook within the inside is what's going to reflect on the outside. And in rituals, although it is an act, a physical act, but it starts within first. Okay, and this is what I'm going to talk about today in depth. I want to quickly come in here and make this video. It's been a while, and talk about the importance of it and why I believe that it is a science, although not formally known, in the scientific world, but it is a metaphysical principle, like I just said, that whatever you do, whatever you say on a repetitive basis will shape your reality. It is a bit of a psychology as well. You'll get to see and understand that. They also rely or rest on the assumptions of your subconscious being shaped as you do or apply rituals and habits or customs and traditions. You have to understand that people, ancient civilizations, this is what they relied on in order to understand the world, in order to shape the world that we know today, right? In order to build whatever they built. So they relied on nature heavily. And this is how we created this world, this physical world, really. It is the thoughts that became things. And it is also paying attention in nature, the cycles of the moon, the sun, and all that. So when you hear somebody say to you that, well, a basil plant doesn't have any benefit besides, you eating it, right? I say it is false, because egregores have been built for centuries, for years, right? Because ancient civilizations wanted answers, and by going into nature, a scientist who wrote a book about nature, mainly on animals, and one observation is that nature was created to support us, human life, or even any life, any being, because we need nature in order to survive here, human beings. We need food, and we get it from nature, right? We need shelter, we get it from nature. Everything is created. Nature was not just an idea because God was bored. It had a specific role, and it will continue to have a specific role. And we go into plants when we're sick, when we need comfort, when we need to fill, to fulfill hunger, and so on and so on. So yes, basil can play a role in realigning your luck. Okay, and in ancient Rome, they believe that's what it did, right? And so are so many other plants. I made a video about coffee and how washing your head with coffee can help you connect to the dream, to the spirit realm, to get messages from your ancestors, from your genie, from your higher self, from spirits, from your guardian angel, and so on, right? So it's those things in nature are not there just because God was bored. They all play a role. And nowadays it's like everybody is just like on a device instead of go and being in nature and connecting with nature and exchanging energy with nature, with the trees and so on. I've had this experience where I've gone out for walks and consciously communicating with trees and asking them to guide me, because they are not lost. Me as a human, I felt lost, but I know they're not lost, right? And there's a poem about that as well. And I said, well, if you are not lost, but I feel lost, but can you help me guide? Can you help guide my path? And I'm not going to lie to you. I kid you not, guys. And I felt peace, and I also felt a sense of direction. So you just have to pay attention. Once you start paying attention, you understand that everything is designed for you, not to go against you, but to help you on your path. And I kid you not, in a couple of weeks, or it took a couple of weeks, things started just falling into place for me. Cells were coming through. I was and clients, were coming to me asking me for help and stuff like that, and I got paid that way, and so on. So you have to understand that the kingdom of God is not going to be inside of that church that you dress so perfectly every Sunday to go sit inside and listen to somebody talk. Don't get me wrong, sometimes they have good messages, but being out in nature, you will get more than going inside of a building. You have to connect to nature. You have to learn how to exchange energies with nature. They will take their pain away from you. They will take the elements away and give you peace and give you realignment. But you need to know how to do that. You need to know how to use the elements, like fire, like water, like your breath, wind, and so on, the earth, in order to align with the essence of who you are, which is God, right? Kabbalah talks about it. In ancient Egyptian cultures, you see how many times they've used sound vibrations and frequencies to create, to do so many things, to give us what we are experiencing today. And how were they more knowledgeable before? Right? Because they were connecting with nature more than we are today. Why is this generation now, it's just they're stuck to their phones, they're stuck to their TVs, and they're wondering why there's so much suffering? Well, it's because you're not going out into what God created for you, which is nature. There's nothing else that you need to support you but nature. It's not going to be, yes, the messages are coming through your phone right now, your TV or whatnot, right? The screen. But I bet you that you don't need me. You don't need to listen to a million different YouTubers or TikTokers to get, the message. Just by being out in nature, connecting with the sun. And they're telling you how harmful the sun is. How is something that is giving life harmful? Well, they would destroy the trees then. But no. So you have to understand that nature is where your answer is. And you need to start going out there and connecting with nature. That's all you need to know. And by doing rituals, using the elements of nature, doing rituals will also help you connect and be in alignment, and open up your chakras as well, open up your third eye, open up your crown chakra, and so on, and literally restructure your subconscious as well, because our subconscious have been hijacked, and I've talked about this before, and I've suffered through that. I had a very not my subconscious, sorry, your nervous system has been hijacked, and my nervous system was set up in a way after so many years of confusion and bad relationships, bad friendships and family drama, that I was out of alignment with my higher self, and my nervous system was in a constant fight or flight mode, or even freeze mode. The reason being was because of all these experiences, right, that I've gone through. People shutting you down, people, being neglected, being punished for just talking the truth, that you couldn't be yourself, like society just want to box you in, and these type of things will affect your nervous system, and then as a result you want to understand why you are not happy and you are in the wrong path, you're not living your truth, right? You're not creating, you're not manifesting, and so on. It's because your nervous system is not in alignment. Yes, you can still create or manifest, because at the core of who we are manifestors. We will be able to, but the issue of the time is that you're not able to sustain or maintain these things that you're manifesting. You have a tendency to self-sabotage because you don't know how to hold what's truly meant for you. And I've experienced that, right? Until I learned to let go, reprogram my nervous system, do rituals to help me remain sane. That's when I started seeing things flow into my life. And I want to be able to share that with you. So far, this video has been very long, but I want to go over my notes here quickly, and perhaps I can come back, and talk about more about the law of rituals, right? And I just want you to understand that the subconscious, right, which is where everything resides, everything, what we are, who we are, how we are shaped in this world, comes from the subconscious mind. or the superconscious, if you will, depending on how you want to look at it. But today I want to use the subconscious. So the subconscious mind really responds to symbols, to rhythm and repetition. So whatever you repeat on a regular basis, the subconscious mind programs that, and it starts literally reflecting that reality to you. Neuroscience talks about that. More particularly, neuroplasticity will tell you that you don't experience reality because reality is there programmed for you, but you experience reality based on your programs. So unfortunately, you might say, well, you know what, I've been suffering, and it not done, obviously not done by you, but yes, it's been done through programs. And sometimes the programs come from generations and generations and generations and generations. This is why we will hear about generational curses. It's not a curse as if like, a spell, so to say, although that could be possible, but it's also due to this energetic pattern that remains stuck like a cloud, and then generations just continually live these experiences. So it could be about money, right? If your family's belief is like money doesn't grow on trees, or it's hard to make money, and this is the order of the day, and you sit at your dining table and this is the conversations that you have as a family, well, guess what, you will continue to experience that reality unless you say, you know what, that's not my reality, I choose to experience a different reality. And you reprogram your subconscious mind based on repetitions and symbols and rhythms and habits and so on, and then you will start experiencing a different reality where money is not so scarce anymore like it's been previously believed, from generations or parents and so on, right, your grandparents. And energy, right, is another thing. It flows where attention and emotionally charged intention goes. So once you start putting energy towards something, it just grows, it expands, right? And it's like using a loop, right? I'm sure many of you have done this little science experiment. We use a loop and direct it towards the sunlight, and the sunlight penetrates the loop, and if you focus it onto something, what happens is that it starts burning that thing, right? So it's the same thing with us. So if you focus your energy, because your energy is God, it's literally God, it's like when you put your energy towards something, that thing starts developing. It's like a flower that blooms, right? So you have to pay attention to that, where you put your energy, what you give energy to. If you give energy to drama, you will experience drama. If you give energy to scarcity, you will experience scarcity. So energy flows where attention and emotionally charged intention goes. All right, that is key here to understand. And reality, you have to understand, is malleable, guys. It's malleable. It's not exactly what they tell you, like, oh, this is the world order and this is what it is. Yes, in order to control better, you will tell people this is how it is, and you have to go by that. But what they're not saying is that reality is malleable through focused will. It's all about your will, particularly when aligned with universal or ancestral forces. And I got to experience that myself. When I started applying what my ancestors, put into practice, particularly inside rituals, I was able to see changes in my reality. I said, how? I'll give you a quick example, right? In Kabbalah, and I like to use Kabbalah because I didn't understand how profound it is as a spirituality, and they've made it so wise. I don't know, because it belongs to a group of people, whereas like, say, like a principle like, of spirituality like voodoo, for instance, they make it into like evil because it belongs to black people. I don't know. But in Kabbalah, right, like if you pay attention to, like, if you read about King Solomon was considered to be the wisest king in the Bible. The wisest king. And then I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy had profound knowledge. He knew how to literally maneuver reality, play with reality. Like, reality was his playground. He could play with demons, he could play with angels, and so on and so on. And I learned about the Star of David and the hexagram, and and just using that, right, to open the quarters so that you can ask for assistance, from the spirit realm to this realm, with this realm here, right? Then you understand that, you can play with reality. It just takes discipline and a bit of will. We'll get to talk more about that. And I've been able to experiment all these things, guys. Yes, it's on me, okay? It's on me, and I'll see with God. But why not? Why not, right? So, all right. Now, I want to talk about a bit more about the subconscious mind and why I'm saying that, rituals can help bypass the conscious mind, where, rituals can help you speak directly with your subconscious, and which, obviously, like I said, your subconscious is responsible for about 95% of your behavior and perceptions, right? You don't experience reality, you experience a program in your subconscious. So neuroscience shows you that repetition, again, I'm going back to that, an emotional engagement will reprogram your subconscious, okay? And I bet you, if you just one week, you wake up every day, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say that I'm young. I'm 15 years younger than my age. I'm looking 15 years younger than my age, and I'm feeling 15 years younger than my age. Do it for 1 week. Looking at yourself in the mirror, with authority, with command, I bet you people will start telling you, oh my God, you're looking younger. What's going on? I guarantee you, just do it and come back to this video and tell me if I'm lying. I'm not lying. I've done it myself and I've experienced that. This goes to show you that you really do not experience reality. You experience your own programs. So if you were younger, obviously people were responsible for your programming. Now that you're older and you're an adult, you're learning about the world, you're learning about science, you're learning about spirituality, you can program your own subconscious mind. You don't need people to do that for you. All you have to do is deprogram from your parents to generations before, and so on and so on. Then you can establish your own ground rules, right? So rituals create neural grooves like affirmations, but with greater emotional and symbolic power. What do I mean by that? If you're asking the assistance of, let's say, angelic forces, right? And you know how to do that because there's an order, there's a discipline in how you reach out to them. There's a certain level of respect and, and reverence as well, right? When you're asking their assistance, and you use affirmations and so on. So you literally, that's also another way of reprogramming your subconscious mind, right? So all these things, you get to understand them and learn them. And I didn't know because, they make you fear the knowledge that is out there as if it's going to burn you or something like that. For the longest time, it's like, I'm not going to touch this, like it's evil, it's whatever. When in fact, it's not true. They just want you to stay away from it so that they can better program you for their own use, so that you can keep buying into whatever they're selling you. Instead of you becoming, being independent and knowing that, listen, I am a god of my own reality and I can create my own reality. I can program my own subconscious. It's not your job, to do for me. I do it, right? So when you light a candle and you're speaking with intention and you're focusing deeply and you can, right, that alone can create a powerful association in the subconscious, reinforcing your beliefs and behaviors. And when you're asking, for instance, like I said, when I walked outside, and I literally consciously asked the trees to help guide me, I didn't even know the power of what I was doing. I did it because I felt like helpless. It's like, what else can I do, right? And I remember like crying and asking, and of course you see nothing. Nothing like crazy happens, right? It's not like you see the trees bending down or anything like that, although that's possible. But what I'm saying is like, it took a couple of weeks and I started paying attention to see things shifting and moving into my reality. And then I looked back and I said, wait, what did I do, that brought this change in my reality. And I would look back and I was like, oh, I remember I did this, I did that. Or I lit a candle on such and such day, you know, on a full moon, I did this ritual, whatever. And I realized that, well, I was connecting the dots, and I was just like, okay, nothing just happens, you know, there's an order to everything. You're just not paying attention. So that's that, right? And you have to understand that there's an energetic field, right? And rituals alter the human biofield. The electromagnetic field generated by the body, by your body, particularly the heart and the brain. And I love to talk about Joe Dispenza, whose book, Becoming Supernatural, talks exactly about that, and how you can heal yourself when you know how to connect the heart and the brain and make them become coherent, and everything changes. Because these are our biggest, you know, let's say generators, you know, the heart and the brain, the biggest generators that we have. Okay, which your heart, you know, field, electromagnetic field. Your brain is an electromagnetic field. You know, your voice is another one. You can shape reality. So you have to understand that, you know, you are an energetic field, you know, constantly generating energy. Okay, so again, like I said about Joe Dispenza, the Heart and Math Institute, you know, they show you that emotion and intention can change the heart's electromagnetic field, which can influence one's environment. So these are what studies show, you know. And again, I would recommend to pick up the book by Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural, and also listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton, that talks about this. And I believe Greg Braden, also somebody else that I've been listening to for years, I talk about that, right? And so you can change the, you know, your heart's electromagnetic field. The same thing too with your brain and stuff like that, right? And with emotions and intentions. So those are the things that constitute your energy as well. Your intention, your emotion, your will, you know, your voice and all that, right? And that's why you have to pay attention. You know, what you feel within your heart and what you think, right? And what you say and things like that. So, you know, EEG and MRI scans show how meditative ritual states can change brainwave patterns. I'm going a little science here and also paying attention to my notes, because that's important for you to understand why. You know, when I talk about rituals, you know, although there are people that think that they are woo, but they're not. There is a scientific aspect to them. It's just that they're not looking into them because obviously it's African spirituality. They're like, oh, it's nothing. When in fact, no, not at all. Not at all. It is scientific within that aspect. Anyways, so those scans, they show how meditative ritual states can change the brainwave patterns, you know, which can influence everything from stress to creativity. All right. So when we talk about reality and quantum perspectives, right? So I guess, again, like I said, I didn't want to make this video too long, but it's getting to 30 minutes now, and I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to leave it as is. Excuse my hair. I have to wash it today. But anyways, so while this is not like a classic science thing, you know, but quantum theory that you've heard so many people here on YouTube talk about, you know, but it also allows for speculation, you know. So you have something like the observer effect, and again, right, like I said, this is how you know, like, reality is malleable. Once you step into that observer, you know, state, you know, when you observe, you know, when you observe things rather than participate in them, okay, so your intention might influence the collapse of possibilities. How can I explain this? The act of observation, okay, affects the outcome, is pretty much what I'm saying here. And so I remember saying this to my cousin, right? It's like he was so angry at something, in the news and something like that. I said, listen, they need your energy so that they can keep going with what they're doing. So you need to preserve that. Do not put your heart and brain into that. This is what they want, right? They're harvesting your energy so that they can keep growing, right? Their own field. You need to preserve that. You need to become the observer. And because your intention, might influence the collapse of possibilities, but you have to know how to use that well, not give it to the wrong things or people or places, right? So that's why entanglement, which they talk about, in the quantum perspective, so if you look at entanglement, right, you can understand that rituals done with others, like a group ceremonies, for instance, can create entangled emotional and energetic states, leading to collective shifts. You go to a concert, heart-brain coherence, energy flowing towards that person. It literally puts them in a God state. You're giving them life. You're giving them energy. You're giving them power. Pay attention. Become the observer. Remove yourself from that scene and understand what's happening here. This is not to scare you. This is to teach you so that you can start working with reality, shaping reality, understanding that you are so powerful that you can start influencing the collapse of possibilities. I don't understand why they never teach those things in school. It took me so many years to learn. It's not crazy, guys. It's real stuff. And I remember growing up seeing books, because my dad was a lawyer and his brother was an ambassador in Rome, from Haiti, by the way. He was an ambassador in Rome, and he was a Freemason. And a lot of these guys, right, who were like judges and were in politics, I didn't understand why they were Freemasons. So now I look back and I'm like, now I understand, because certain knowledge, they needed to keep it amongst themselves so that you can continue influencing the rest of the world and harvesting people's energy so that they can continue on their manifest destiny. Anyways, moving on. So esoterically and spiritually speaking, right, what is the meaning of rituals? So in esotericism, we see that ritual is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. The seen and the unseen. You remember I said that, I made a video about the head washing ritual coffee thing with coffee, and it's believed in Haitian spirituality that it helps you connect with the unseen realm, the spirit realm. So this is what, esoterically speaking, we understand that rituals do. It's just a bridge to connect you with the unseen, the physical, with like the 3D dimension, with the fifth, dimension, or whatever, how many dimensions you wanna look into this, right? Hold on here. I'm trying to cover my head because I need to wash my hair. But anyways, so the conscious and the divine. We are conscious being here in the 3D dimensional world, and then the divine realm. But we're not that far. There is a bridge. You can cross the bridge. You just need to learn how to cross the bridge. Okay? Your dreams can reveal a lot, by the way. Okay? That's why it's important for us. Like in certain spirituality, dreaming is important. We Haitians would believe, like if we're not dreaming, like we're completely disconnected. The unseen world, the spirit world is probably the most important for Haitians. Like their dreams is like so important. Anyways, so alchemically, okay, so to give it an alchemical view, right, rituals are formulas to transmute the lead, per se, right, to or of material consciousness, right, into the gold of spiritual awareness. It's a transmutation. Okay, so rituals, you do them. Let's say you use basil, right? You know that basil is going to help bring you good luck. So you're transmuting whatever is, let's say, not so good luck into good luck. And this is why rituals are done. In a magical theory based view, right? Rituals is a tool to bend probability by aligning human will with cosmic laws and archetypes, right? Like different gods and deities and stuff like that, right? And then spiritual psychology will tell you that rituals can help you externalize the internal, allowing emotional energies to be channeled, witnessed, and transformed. So in all cases, guys, rituals, technically speaking, they operate on the principle that spirit responds to intentional engagement. The spirit realm is there to assist us when we call upon the spirit world. And we have forces that assist us in that action, and rituals can help us do that. And the more we do it, the easier it becomes, and the faster, these forces, they come to our aid. And the more we can hear or see or understand or collapse this bridge, between the seen and the unseen. Okay? So, do I want to talk about rituals in Haitian spirituality and Afro-Caribbean traditions? Maybe I can leave it for another video, guys. I wanted to also talk about like voodoo and its, cosmic technology. And I said that I was going to make a video about that, and I still haven't. But I want you to understand that, Afro-Caribbean spiritualities, like voodoo, Santeria, and Oveya, Candomblé, and all these, spiritualities, they're ritual-centric. And if you know, you know why, right? Because they know that rituals allow them to enter a relationship between, with spirits, the Loas and the Orishas and the ancestors, right? And they do offerings, they do songs, they do dances and sacrifices, not necessarily animal sacrifices. And I don't support animal sacrifices. But, sacrifices to open channels between the physical and the spiritual realms. That's why these spiritualities are ritual centric. So when you do rituals, okay, not only there's the psychological aspect, which I talked about, how to reprogram the subconscious mind, but it's also a way to call on the unseen to help you in the seen, in the physical world. So, you learn to embody spirituality, because unlike many Western traditions, the system, these systems of spiritualities, they embody divinity. Okay, so literally, like for instance, when they talk about, I guess the churches here too, they do that. They talk about like, catching spirit or whatnot. In Haitian spirituality, they talk about mounting, like a spirit mounting you during rites or processions and stuff like that. So, so this is going a little bit further into rituals that I want to. So this is the core of what I wanted to talk about, the psychological aspect of it and how it can help reprogram your subconscious, and also why certain spiritualities, they do it. Okay, again, ritual is a technology of consciousness. Understand that. I don't need to go any further than that. It's the psychology, it's a technology of the consciousness, okay, of consciousness. So you have to understand that it's not superstition like they want to make you believe. It's not superstition. It is a technology, okay, and it is a technology that the soul uses, okay, in order to program reality. And these ancient spiritualities, these old spiritualities, they knew that, and they did it often. They learned how to do it better and better. They used the elements, they opened the four quarters, like for instance King Solomon using the hexagram, the Star of David, the six-pointed stars and stuff like that, to call in forces to assist them during the rites, during whatever he's doing, asking for, calling on guardian angels and so on, learning how to do these things to help assist you when nothing else works here. So you need to deprogram from whatever these beliefs, the schools, the churches, the whatever, the religions, the political system here, society, whatever, program into your head, to understand that these things are built for us, to support our survival, to help us collapse this bridge. There is this bridge. You can collapse it if you want, right? So you have to understand that your focus intention, with laser precision, is a form of technology of consciousness. Your energy, engaging your subconscious through symbol, through stories, through an embodiment, okay? And anchoring your energy and emotion, are the real fuel of manifestation. That's all you need. Your focus intention, your energy, that life force that is within you. It's all you need to manifest, really. Just learn to amplify it within yourself. And you can invite higher powers and archetypes, or inner intelligence to collaborate with your own will to help you get what you want, what you desire. Not to harm, but to get what you want and desire. I think this is it for me for this video. I don't want to make it any longer. I hope you were able to learn something here today. And reach out to me if you have any questions. I have a pineapple ritual that I shared here. Listen, inside of that ritual, it's more than just using pineapple. There, I put instructions on how to open the 4 quarters in order to call on the unseen, to help you get exactly what you're asking for during that ritual. And you write it in, your petition. And I guarantee you will get results. I guarantee you. But you have to reach out to me. I cannot do anything if you don't reach out to me. All right, guys, take care and God bless you. Let's continue to prosper together.